What is up? And welcome to another special episode of Dynasty League Football. There is no off season. We are talking today about the moves that have happened over this not off season, where we just had the draft, and we're talking about every player that was drafted, the veterans that were affected, what these teams are doing. And I am joined here by Tyler to talk about and break down everything that we saw. So today, in this episode, we're talking about the NFC South. And we start with a very exciting prospect in Atlanta, who they took at number 4 overall, the tight end, Kyle Pitts.
I love it. I love Kyle Pitts. I wrote a whole article about Kyle Pitts. I said the article probably at this point has 100% come out by the time you're listening to this video, because I wrote it yesterday in our time. We're probably way ahead of ourselves. But let me just, I gotta read you a sentence from the articles. The article had a section on weaknesses in Kyle Pitts' profile. Here was what my take on Kyle Pitts' weaknesses. Honestly, I won't waste your time describing Pitts' weaknesses. He doesn't have any. And he's the best tight end prospect ever, at least in my lifetime and in my 26 years on this earth. So that was my opinion on Kyle Pitts' weaknesses. He has no weaknesses. He is already my Dynasty tight end 3. Already the Dynasty tight end 3, only behind Kittle and Kelsey, ahead of Darren Waller. So he is already the tight end 3. I love Kyle Pitts. I probably won't get a lot of him, though, in rookie drafts, because I hear some people want to take Kyle Pitts as 101. I just can't do that. I can't do that. Jamar Chase, to me, is not the generational prospect that Kyle Pitts is, but he's the best wide receiver prospect in the last 5 years. So we start more wide receivers than we do tight ends. So I'll take Jamar Chase ahead of him. I just think Najee Harris is getting all the volume. I'll take him ahead of him. And Travis Etienne, I like the fit with Lawrence. So just running back scarcity makes him 3. I'll take Kyle Pitts at 4 in 1 QB rookie drafts. But that's very high for a tight end. I can't remember that I've ever recommended. People were saying 2 years ago, people are going to ask me, why is this different from TJ Hawkinson and Noah Fant? People told us to take them with maybe not a 4th overall, but a 5th or a 6th overall pick, and they didn't really deliver. Noah Fant, certainly. Even TJ Hawkinson, did he really deliver on a 5th overall pick? Probably not. If you took him 5th overall, you're probably disappointed. So why is Kyle Pitts different? Because Kyle Pitts is in a completely different class to those guys. Those guys were good prospects. But you get a tight end prospect like that every couple of years or every year. You had ones like that in 2017. You don't have anything like Kyle Pitts. Kyle Pitts is not really a tight end. Kyle Pitts is a wide receiver listed as a tight end. He is going to deliver immediate production in the Atlanta offense. He's paired with Matt Ryan. We saw how Matt Ryan tried to utilize Hayden Hurst last year. The issue was that Hayden Hurst isn't very good. Hayden Hurst is not a real receiving tight end. He belongs in more of a tight end 2 role. So when on a team, when Matt Ryan tried to deliver him the ball, it didn't really work. Not so this year. We have rumors of Julio Jones being traded. Who knows what's going to happen, but he's aging anyway. Calvin Ridley is a stud. But you need another I said wide receiver, but he really is a wide receiver. Pitts is really a wide receiver. So you need another receiving weapon in the offense, and I love the fit here. I think that he's going to be a tight end 1 immediately. I have him ranked tight end 6 for 2021. Redraft, I would take him at tight end 6. So that's what I would do. I have very high expectations for Kyle Pitts, and I'm all in.
Redraft, he's going to buck the trend of tight ends not producing in year 1.
Yes, he will.
You're all in even in this year.
I'm all in. I'm all in because let's say that you listed Kyle Pitts at wide receiver. And I told you that he would produce. Let's give some interesting numbers. What I told you he would produce. Let's say I told you he would produce 52 receptions for 856 yards and 3 touchdowns. Would you be interested in that player? A tight end. who produced as a rookie 52
Sure.
receptions, 856 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Would you be interested?
Yep.
That's Jerry Jeudy's stat line from last year.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, you don't think that? I think Kyle Pitts is just as good of a wide receiver prospect as Jerry Jeudy, and he's not playing with failure Drew Lock. Instead, he's playing with very competent Matt Ryan. So, what more is there to say? I think my ranking, he doesn't even turn 21 until like the fall. I could see the argument to have him at 1, to have him at tight end 1, and for me, I don't have him there. I'd want to just stick with Kittle and Kelsey because I've seen them do it at like special talent level, but I don't know. I mean, if you want to have him there and that's where you have him, more power to you.
There aren't many people that can draw Calvin Johnson comparisons, but the fact that he's done it as a tight end is pretty incredible, right? I mean, like, he's not Calvin Johnson, but like the fact that you can draw
there's no Calvin Johnson. There's no Calvin Johnson.
The fact that you draw the comparison at tight end, come on, that's pretty incredible.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing that he's even in the discussion. I mean,
right.
If you told me he would even be any part Calvin Johnson, I would be pretty happy at the tight end position. So this is someone you want to get on your team. In tight end premium, I bump him up a spot, and then it becomes a discussion between him, Harris, and Chase, depending on the format. And yeah.
Interesting in Atlanta, 2 more things I want to talk about. They did take Frank Darby, wide receiver out of Arizona State, in the 6th round. Any interest?
No, 0.
The interesting thing then that I'm mentioning here is that the Atlanta Falcons did not invest in a running back in the draft, leaving Mike Davis sitting atop the depth chart with Cordero Patterson listed as their 2nd running back. Why didn't they address the running back position at all?
I have no idea. I really have no idea. I thought they would take Javonte Williams at 35 instead of trading the pick away to the Broncos. I don't know. Maybe they just don't plan to run the ball. They don't plan to run the ball. Would you? If you had Calvin Ridley, Julio Jones, and Kyle Pitts on your team, not to mention, Russell Gage is no slouch. He wide receiver 3, 4th receiving weapon on your team. You find me teams that have a better 4th receiving weapon than Russell Gage. There aren't many. And then Hayden Hurst, too, is, again, no slouch as a blocker and as a receiver, a 5th receiving weapon. I mean, you find someone who has a better mix of weapons than that. Would you ever run the ball? So I get it. But this is not their final running back room. Mike Davis, Cordero Patterson, and undrafted UDFA, who we usually don't mention UDFAs, but I think we have to here. Because this one is important. UDFA Javian Hawkins, who actually have a 4th round pick in rookie drafts. So he's someone I would 100% select. He's one of my favorite running back sleepers ahead of a lot of the guys who are actually drafted. So he's someone I'd definitely pick. But there's just no way that this is their final running back room. I still have some weird idea, even though he was terrible there, that perhaps the Falcons and Todd Gurley will resolve their differences and that he'll sign back there. I don't know why they would want him because they didn't play him down the stretch, but that wasn't this coaching staff. That wasn't this GM who didn't play him. So perhaps the new coaching staff and the new GM would be interested in Todd Gurley, but they cannot go into a season with Mike Davis, Cordero Patterson, and Javian Hawkins. Like they released Ito Smith already. Brian Hill signed with the Titans. Like Quadri Allison is the only other running back there. That this is not a real NFL team. You have to have a backup.
Yeah.
So they will sign someone. I would have said on any other team, I would say it's just Todd Gurley, but they have their issues with Todd Gurley. I bet they claimed Kerryon Johnson, but the Eagles got him ahead of it somehow. But I guess they wouldn't have because they have a worse record. So I don't know. I don't really understand what they're doing, but we'll see. Maybe they signed Le'Veon Bell, as gross as that is.
And if you want to win a Super Bowl, obviously you always just want to bring in LaShawn McCoy because he's
you could do that. Champion. You could do that, or sign Frank Gore. That's what you could do.
There you go. I don't think he's played in Atlanta yet. That would be great.
No, he hasn't played there.
I'm really fascinated by this next team, the Carolina Panthers. They did all defensive draft picks last season, and then this season they start off with a defensive player in J.C. Horn, I'm kind of excited to see him there. But then 4 straight picks on the offensive side of the ball, starting with Terrace Marshall, who Joe Brady knows from his days at LSU, which is really fascinating to me. Back-to-back tight ends, Brady Christensen, Tommy Tremble. Okay. 4th round, they go with Chuba Hubbard. Okay. What do you think about what is happening here in Carolina, obviously with Sam Darnold, and is this some good weapons here? What do you think about their draft?
Brady Christensen is a tackle. So I don't know what his, I think he's a tackle. I actually really like the Brady Christensen pick, which is not a tight end.
He's
but that's
sort of a tight end here. You're right. He's not.
Yeah, to help protect Sam Darnold, I actually really like the Brady Christensen pick.
Yeah.
So that's actually a great pick that they made. Back to the J.C. Horn selection, though. Failure. They picked J.C. Horn. We said for most of the early part of the offseason, well, the Jets, they're going to get rid of Sam Darnold because they're going to select Justin Fields. And then the Panthers decide, we have Sam Darnold. We're not going to take Justin Fields. Cornerback, that's what we need. Then we're going to commit $22 million to Sam Darnold for 2022. That's what we're going to do. Failure. So their whole draft just for that gets an F. Even though the rest of it was actually pretty good, I have to give it an F because they committed to Sam Darnold. Big mistake. They're going to regret that decision, I expect. I don't think Sam Darnold is good. 3 years of failure. I don't like failure. So we have 3 years of failure, and now they expect that suddenly he's going to be good? Oh, it was all Adam Gase's fault, really. Adam Gase, yes. Was some of it Adam Gase's fault? Yes. Did Adam Gase make the ball come out of Sam Darnold's hand and go to the wrong place? No. So it's not all Adam Gase's fault. It's just mostly Adam Gase's fault.
Yeah.
So yeah, these picks, Terrace Marshall, I have concerns. They're mostly based on his late fall in the draft. We don't really know why, but this is usually bad. When picks fall late in the draft, it's usually either because of some off-field concern, some medical issue. In his case, apparently we have both. There's mysterious medical issues. We don't really know what's wrong with him. Nobody does. The NFL does. We don't really know. And then there were also work ethic concerns, and you could see it. Like, he took plays off. He took plays off where he knew he wasn't getting the ball or stuff like that. And I don't know. He fell in the draft, and oftentimes when guys fall in the draft like that for no reason, he's not a superstar. He was okay. He was good, but we're not talking about like the best player here. So, he's going to play with Sam Darnold. He's behind Christian McCaffrey and DJ Moore in the target pecking order. They just committed to a vomit-worthy $22 million to Sam Darnold in 2022. I'm fine with Terrace Marshall, but I'm not like running out of my way to pick him, I guess. Like, I'd rather take my chances with Kadarius Toney's first-round draft capital than start with Terrace Marshall's horrible medicals, fall in the draft, and really, in my opinion, really bad situation.
Speaking of failure, I cannot believe I just said that Brady Christensen was a tight end. On Sportrack, he's listed as a tight end right now. I know I know where he plays because I watched Zach Wilson. That's a total failure. My bad.
But we still love you. And for the people watching, the people should know that, Cal has done, this is now show 7, has put up with 7 shows with me. And as you can see, the energy, there's a lot of craziness going on. So Cal is very, very talented and very, very kind and very, very thoughtful to put up with that. So I completely forgive a minor mistake.
I'm like Will Ferrell, like on Anchorman, where I'm just like reading off the teleprompter. And if Sportrack's going to list him as a tight end, I'm just going to read him as a tight end.
I love it. I was like, when you said it, I was like, oh, is this a player I've never heard of? This is going to be bad for me. I'm hoping that I have to come up with something on the spot. And then I was like, oh, no, he's actually not a tight end. I don't have to make it up. But yeah, let's talk about the tight end they did pick. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about Tommy Tremble. Tommy Tremble, I like it. I like it. They need a tight end in the offense. I mean, Ian Thomas, failure, 3 years of failure. I don't want failure. A 4th round pick. He flashed for like a minute and then back to the bench where he belongs. They also signed Dan Arnold in free agency.
Sleeper. I like him.
No.
Sleeper.
No. Dan Arnold, you could have thought he was a sleeper before. Not anymore. Tommy Tremble is the guy you want there. I actually thought Tommy Tremble had a good amount of buzz pre-draft. He had good buzz. People were saying some things about him that were interesting, like he can get on the field, he provides blocking skills, teams are going to like that. So, as you know, if you can get on the field as a tight end, you have the opportunity to catch passes, even if it's not your best skill. We all wrote off Will Dissly in 2018. We wrote him off because he was a blocker. And turns out when he got on the field, now he struggled with injuries, but when he got on the field, he was actually a pretty good receiver. We wrote off Drew Sample. Same thing. He was a blocker. We didn't even consider him. And yeah, again, was he very good? No. But he received 53 targets in 2020. So Tommy Tremble could be on a similar plan to those two. Mostly intended to serve as a blocker, but if necessary, could serve as a receiver. With that said, I already complained about the target distribution for Marshall, so just double that complaint for Tremble, who I don't think is anywhere near as good as a receiver. Maybe he has a 10th of the receiving talent that Marshall does. So, whatever. I'm fine taking a shot on Tremble with his 3rd round draft capital in like the early 4th round in a regular non-premium league, around the same in a Superflex tight end premium. But yeah, it's not someone I'm running out of my way to get. But you know, decent prospect.
Shi Smith, I thought, was an interesting guy. I don't love the landing spot. Too crowded there in Carolina, in my opinion. Now
we got to talk about Chuba, though.
But yeah, I was gonna say Chuba. Like, let's touch on him because he does take the place of the Atlanta Falcons lead running back now, Mike Davis, and has opportunity. There's a lot of people who think Christian McCaffrey, it's just, he's done. He's broken down. He is going to struggle with injuries.
Those people, though, who are these people? Show me these people. People, you come to me to show your faces. People, really. Christian McCaffrey missed 0 games in his first 3 seasons. I wrote a whole article about this. It's actually in the article that published today in our time. It's long gone by the time you read it. But rookies who land in the worst landing spots, I highlighted Chuba in that article because Christian McCaffrey played 80% of snaps or more, 85% actually, in all but 3 of his first 38 games or something like that. I forget the exact number, but you go read the article. It's around there. I think it's 3 out of 48. Or no, 3 out of 32 in his second 2 seasons once he became the workhorse. Either way, we're talking about 85% snap shares when healthy. Chuba's never going to see the field. There's no... See, that's the issue I have with Chuba, is there's no way he cannot earn playing time. It is not possible. It's his playing time is solely dependent on someone else getting hurt. Solely. It's True. Not like compare him to another running back in the 4th round, say Ramondre Stevenson. If Ramondre Stevenson is good, Damian Harris is not an obstacle. They could decide at some point that Stevenson is better and replace him. They're never deciding that. They're not sending Christian McCaffrey to the bench, who has 5 years of contract left, and we're not even starting. In 2022, we just start this 4 years, $64 million that he has coming. That's 2022 that we even start that. So Chuba has like no hope for anything unless McCaffrey like suffers a career-ending injury. He's just a handcuff. That's all he is. With that said, he's one of the better handcuffs in the game, but he hasn't proven anything yet. So I don't know. I'm not very in on him. He's an early 3rd rounder for me in regular 1 QB rookie drafts, which I guess is fine. I think that speaks more to the rest of the class than it does to him.
You know, in this draft, there's 5 quarterbacks who we love, and then there's a bunch of guys that we don't. And maybe there's a guy that we're overlooking in that next group. And you ask me, who dat? It's Ian Book, the quarterback taken by the New Orleans Saints in the 4th round. 3-year starter out of Notre Dame. I don't have a lot of high hopes for him. But like you said, when you look at the depth chart ahead of him, I'm not sure we think Jameis Winston or Taysom Hill represent that much of a barrier to him potentially getting some time. He's with Sean Payton. I don't know. I'm probably reaching, but there's not a lot of interesting things to talk about with this Saints team. So, Ian Book, what do you think?
No. This was a waste of a pick. I don't understand. I don't get it. I don't understand. I don't know why they failed to pick any wide receivers. No wide receivers. Why didn't they pick any wide receivers? They're doing this. They're on an advanced version of the Green Bay Packers plan. No wide receivers to complement Michael Thomas. They think that 4th year Traquan Smith is magically going to suddenly work out everything that's wrong with his game and suddenly become good in year 4. Why on earth are they imagining that that's going to happen? They let Emmanuel Sanders walk in free agency. Did they replace him? No. They let Jared Cook walk in free agency because of cap issues. Did they replace him? No. So they think that Michael Thomas, Traquan Smith, and Adam Troutman is an acceptable complement of receiving weapons. And by the way, Michael Thomas missed most of last season. Unacceptable. They wasted a 4th round pick on Ian Book when at that pick, there were receivers that were available. I mean, nobody great, but you could have taken, I would have taken Seth Williams, but you could have taken Cornell Powell or just somebody, anybody would have, been better than taking a quarterback there that you don't need. So who I think sucks. So yeah, no to Ian Book. No, thank you.
There just wasn't a lot there with the Saints, honestly, because, wide receiver Kawan Baker, they took in the 7th round of South Alabama. I don't really have a lot of, when you draft somebody and you immediately list him below Lil Jordan Humphrey on your depth chart, you wasted your pick.
I give their draft an F. I have to give it an F because I don't see any way to give it any other grade. They have so many needs by their cap trouble, and they failed to address any of their needs on offense. They failed to address. You want to give Jameis Winston or Taysom Hill opportunity to succeed? You didn't provide them any offensive weapons to do so. How do you expect them to succeed at quarterback? You just expect them to throw to Michael Thomas every single play? That doesn't work. You need to have alternatives. And we don't know if Adam Troutman is going to do anything. He's such a mystery box. Could be good, could be bad. Nobody has any clue. So, yeah, failure. F for failure for their draft.
Marquez Callaway could fall into some targets
I don't
here.
Hear about Marquez Callaway. That is, you're telling me that you want an NFL team to rely on Marquez Callaway, Deontay Harris, and even Traquan says, yes, I even know who these players are. And Traquan Smith, this is what you want them to rely on? You think this team is a playoff contender with this nonsense? No, this team is going to be awful. I think the Saints are going to be awful. I think that they're going to in for a rude awakening because I think Sean Payton thinks that he can make something work with, actually, I think he has very unrealistic expectations for both Jameis Winston and Taysom Hill. He thinks he's the smartest man in the room with Taysom Hill, and he's not. And people are going to figure that out. And he thinks that he can fix Jameis Winston, and you're not turning off Jameis Winston's 30 interceptions. So, he's going to, and then he's just going to keep going back and forth. I'd be running from these Saints weapons. And I don't know. I hope for Michael Thomas's sake that it's Jameis Winston as the quarterback, but, and Alvin Kamara as well, because Taysom Hill was not good for Alvin Kamara. But I don't know.
When you win the Super Bowl and you bring back all of your starters, your draft is just a luxury. It's just lagniappe, to use a New Orleans term there. And they go ahead and take Kyle Trask out of Florida, the quarterback. Another one that's kind of in that next range there. Wide receiver, Jalen Darden. But honestly, this team, I feel like there's just not a lot in this draft that we're going to be very interested in. The only interesting thing is that Tom Brady has had nice things to say about Kyle Trask, but you can't say about any of the other quarterbacks he's ever had brought in to back him up. So I don't know. Kyle Trask, maybe at least, hey, Tom Brady's going to be nice to you.
I give their draft an A. I give their draft an A because they didn't need anyone. So their draft gets an automatic A because they put themselves in a position where they didn't need any positions in the draft. So no matter what they did, they were getting an A. The Kyle Trask pick, I think it's a good pick. I really do. I think he was, for me, the clear quarterback 6 in this class. I think him at 232, 64th overall is a value. I like the selection. I have him ahead of Kellen Mond, but behind Davis Mills, just because Davis Mills has a chance to play. Whereas Kyle Trask is waiting. We know he's waiting this year. Tom Brady says he's going to play in 2022. I don't know if that's a certainty. It's not like Kirk Cousins, which is a certainty that his guaranteed contract fully for 2022. Brady's contract for 2022 is a little more up in the air. So Trask, I think it's more likely than Mond that Trask is the actual successor to Brady. That seems more like a Tampa Bay thing to do. And we know that Brady cannot play forever. Yes, I know. He's immortal. He drank from the fountain of youth, blah, blah, blah. But Father Time has won every single battle. And even though Tom Brady has resisted it better than anyone, he will eventually retire. And I do think that it's probably going to be after 1 or 2 more years. So I do see a path for Kyle Trask, but it's a skinny one. I'd take him in the early 3rd in Superflex, but not before. Jalen Darden, no interest, really. I mean, he's a 4th-round pick, so I'll take him as a flyer, but that's all he is.
There's just no room. And honestly, like, the wide receiver room's crowded. The tight end room is kind of crowded now a little bit. Like, with O.J. Howard back.
They kept all their tight ends. They kept them all.
They kept everybody. It's just like,
yeah, it's a shame, really, for Jalen Darden. The most interesting thing is it's really a shame for Tyler Johnson because now they're, I mean, forget it. I mean, the odds of a day 3 receiver hitting are slim to none, and now you put 2 of them on the same team behind 3 established veterans. I just don't want either of those players. But I'd take Darden if I had to choose.
Running back, we talked a little bit about the age of Najee Harris. Ronald Jones is almost to his 2nd contract, and he's like 4 months older than Najee Harris.
I know. Ronald Jones, Ronald Jones is, I believe, August 97, and Najee Harris is February 98. If the people want to know, those ages are not on my screen. So hopefully I got them right. But I try to have all that stuff in my brain. But yeah, so they are very close in age. But I'm not interested in Ronald Jones. I don't want him. He's boring. We've had enough years of him. His time is up. Like, him and Leonard Fournette are going to split the backfield. I don't want any part of failure. Keyshawn Vaughn and Giovanni Bernard is just going to annoyingly take receptions that could have gone to someone else and actually been useful. So yeah, no interest in these guys.
And that wraps up our NFC South, where we talked a lot about the NFC champions and some really fun teams, some great prospects. I'm excited to talk about this next division too, the NFC West. A lot of really cool things.
Oh, yes.
So if you've been following along with us, that's our next division that we're going to cover. And as you know, you need to be absolutely subscribed to a premium subscription of dynastyleaguefootball.com, where that is going to give you an edge and an advantage in all of your Dynasty Fantasy Football leagues.
I promise.
So many great tools, so many great things for you to use. And we haven't mentioned in quite a few of these shows now, the forum. You need to be spending some time on the forum there. Really great things. Ask questions that you can get answers from some amazing staff, including the man to my left here, Mr. Tyler.
And also, don't forget the regular DLF forum. We plug the premium forum, but I always use the regular forum just because I wanted to talk to other people in the community, and like, they're very active. Like, it's a great place to just meet new people, meet new league mates. We don't promote it a lot because it's not a premium sub, but it's something that we provide as a site. I mean, we provide and maintain those forums, and it's a good community space that we provide for the community. And it's where I learned how to play Dynasty, was in those forums. So I suggest going and checking them out as well.
Make sure you're subscribed to this YouTube channel. Turn those notifications on so you know every time that we're going to go live and that we have a new video, because we're working hard to bring you the best content out there. And like this video, comment, tell us what we got right, what we got wrong. Tell us your opinion. And as always, send all complaints to Tyler into his DMs. So for Tyler, make sure you're following him on Twitter. Follow me, follow DLF at DL Football. And we will see you on the next video.